It's tea time. We're gonna have some tea, we're gonna talk about some stuff. I'm going to have, boom. That's blackberry, apple cider, and blueberry green tea. Let's do it. Cheers. All right, I want to talk about being naive and what it means to be naive. I think everyone's got it wrong. I really think everyone's got it wrong. First, let's read my quotes. We'll read one of them. Your greatest strength is love. That's a good one to start this talk about naivete. I've been guilty of it, and most people are guilty of it. When someone's happy, we automatically assume or project onto them that they're naive. They must be naive because they don't understand the difficulties of the world and the horrors and the evil and all that kind of stuff. And how could you be happy being aware of all of those kinds of things? There was a point in my life where I remember thinking that a lot of people were naive and that you had to be naive in order to be happy. And I remember looking at people that didn't seem to care about anyone else and not a care in the world, completely selfish, so on and so forth. And I thought, man, if only I could be that dumb and that unaware of what's going on in the world, then I could be happy. And then I heard this guy named Naval Ravikant say, essentially, if you think you're so smart, then why can't you figure out how to be happy? And boy, did that hit me like a ton of bricks, because it's true. You don't have to be stupid to be happy, you have to be smart to be happy. So you really need to look at things in order to be happy. I mean, maybe people could be happy being dumb, but I don't think that's really the case, and they might not be book smart or street smart or wise, but they know what's important to them, and that's all that really matters to be happy. But back to being naive. I remember this one time, I had just finished physical therapy, I was feeling great, still in pain, but I still felt good. And I remember walking from my car to 7-Eleven, and I had this big smile on my face. I felt so happy. And I remember thinking, I wonder what people would think of me. Would people see me smiling like this and they must think, that guy doesn't know anything about the world. He must be naive. And I got a chuckle out of the idea that they would think that I was naive, considering I'd just been to physical therapy. I've been in pain every day for over a year. And then something kind of like clicked, where it was like the joke's on them. And to look at someone and assume that just because they're smiling and just because they're happy, they must not know anything about the world is totally false. It's actually quite a journey to get to that point. And of course, there might be exceptions to the rule. But usually when people don't do the work, they don't achieve any kind of happiness. They're empty and miserable and blame other people for the situation that they're in. But once you start doing the work, well, you can see there's really only one way to exist, and whether or not there's all these atrocities going on in the world, you have only one choice, and that's how you're going to react to everything. And I think you're actually the stupid one if you let everything bring you down. You're actually the smart one, the aware one, the wise one. If you acknowledge it, you understand it, but you don't let it destroy you. So who's the smart one? I think it's the person that walks around with a smile on their face, despite all the difficulties that they're dealing with and all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. I could be wrong, of course. No one knows anything anyway, but this is just something I've been thinking about lately. As I've been driving, I've just been ecstatic, and I've seen death, and I've seen pain, and I've almost died. And yet still, I know that I get to be happy if I want to. Happiness isn't a default setting. Happiness is a goal. Happiness is a forever goal. It's something that we will continually have to work on. There is no stability in happiness, but we could always choose it. Okay, so back to this idea that if you're aware of what's going on in the world, you must be upset and you must be angry. And I don't believe that to be true at all, because all of those things are emotions. Those are emotional reactions to what's going on in the world. Death isn't inherently angry or sad. I mean, death is part of life. We all die, and everyone we know dies. So we don't really have to be losing our minds and being angry and upset and being bitter against God or whomever, whatever it is, blaming them for our problems. It's just not inherently bad. So you could look at death and you could say, ah, they died, this is terrible, God, you're evil, which is what I did when I was a little boy. I was naive then. I didn't know anything then. And I went straight to anger. Straight to anger and straight to condemning God and religion and all of that stuff. Still not religious, but maybe there's something else going on up there. So that's what I did as a little boy, was turn to anger. And now here I am as a more developed man, and I've dealt with a lot more really difficult stuff. Alcoholism, that was pretty brutal. I know I did it to myself, but it was still brutal, and it puts you in a really dark place. But I did it to myself. And of course I could blame the liquor store and the people who make alcohol and the advertisements and the people that I hung around with and the bars that I worked in. I could blame. There's endless things that I could blame. But I take responsibility for it because I know that there's a lesson in it. And I learned that lesson. And so now when I look back, oh, well, that was kind of like a funny little choice and a weird chapter that I decided to dive into in my life. And I learned a lot. And then with my accident, I could blame the girl who turned out in front of me. I could blame insurance. I could blame the city of Los Angeles. I could blame the stoplight. I could blame anything. Any number of things. But I don't do that. I just accept that what happened happened, and I move on. And I try to learn from it and be happy. Okay, I think we've established that I have seen some bad stuff in my life. Death, pain, thoughts of suicide. I've seen the darkness. I've looked it right in the face, and I've walked away. I am not naive, but I am happy, and I'm always looking for something to learn. And the thing to learn is always focused on the end goal being happiness and fulfillment. That's always what I'm looking for. What can this situation I'm in now teach me about how to be happy in the future? That's what I'm always doing. So having gone through all of this crazy stuff that I've gone through, some self-inflicted, some not, I've come to learn that the thing that there is to absolutely know about the world and the universe is that it wants us to be happy. And we should be happy. And the way that we get happy is through love. That's it. That is the one truth. If we love ourselves, and we love our family, and we love our friends, and we treat angry people, hateful people with love, and all we do is just be a little love factory, and we just create love and spread love, the world will be a better place. And we'll be on our way to happiness. And people are gonna think you're naive, but that's fine, and it's funny, and the joke's on them. Because if I walk around with a smile on my face and I spread love and I treat someone really kindly, they might think I know nothing about the world, but I will have improved their day. I'll have put a smile on their face. I'll have made them think about something positive. And so, who's naive? Is it the person that understands life and tricks people into being happy? Or is it the person that's angry, just like little boy me? I don't know if I'm beating a dead horse or telling you something that you already know. If I am, that's fine. Because I'm learning about this stuff as I go. I once asked this question. I asked it to the universe. I just asked it. Maybe I thought about it. However you want to put it. I asked, how do I deal with the downward pull of negative people? And you know what the answer that was given was? Tell them that you love them. Just about knocked my socks off because duh, obviously that's what you do. There's no pit deep enough and no darkness dark enough to keep us there forever. And it's not naive to think that we could get out. It's actually wise to know that we can get out. Because why would we want to live life in a negative way? Why would we want to be unhappy? Why would we take pride in our anger? Why would we take pride in our anger? It's what everyone seems to do these days. It's not something to be proud of. Taking action, helping others, understanding the plights of other people, whether you've been there or not, and then trying to help them with love, it's the only way forward. Being upset is a choice. Being angry is a choice. Outrage is a choice. These are all choices. And they're all elementary reactions. Like I said, when I was a little kid and my mother died, I was angry. Now I'm grateful that my mother died. How's that for you? Seems weird, but it's true. Because I can't have it any other way. And I learned a million things from it. I keep learning from it to this day. Tell them that you love them. And the only real truths about life is that we need love and empathy and compassion and gratitude. That's what you find at the end of the struggle, if you really want to get out of the struggle. I'm going to tell you one more thing. If you think that people can't be happy and aware, or happy and worldly, or happy and educated, well then I'd hate to break it to you, but you haven't even approached the starting line yet. Because the only place to end up is love, empathy, compassion, gratitude, and happiness. If you're angry and you think you have to be angry forever, you're not even trying. And you are the one who is naive. Sorry, I gotta get dinner. See ya.